Okay, so now we're going to glue these pieces together and make this assembly. Okay, so you have your two forms and you have centers marked on them and notches cut. Right, the notches have to be cut on those. And you have your spacer block with a notch, the center line marked this way. So if you didn't get one of these, this is just a 5-inch scrap and it can be of any material. I just used 3/4 inch plywood or 1/2 inch plywood or whatever I had. But I know at least one student didn't get his and he was using his own stuff. Okay, so what are we going to do? We're going to line this up so that this guy, when you glue it together, the center lines line up like that. And on this side, we want to line up so the center lines line up like this, best as possible, and that the bottoms are flush on this. Okay, so what can you use? If you have glue, glue is a really great thing. You'll just have to have a way of holding it together until the glue dries. Now, you could just glue it together with a hot glue gun. You can use this. It'll hold it together enough, and you can take it apart later. So if you have a hot glue gun, you could use it to glue it together just using the hot glue gun. Okay, or if you have if you don't have any glue, you could probably use a good double stick tape to tape those on there. You could run masking tape on here, around and around, maybe rubber bands. So there's more than one way, but you do want this to be firm. So you could also use, if you don't have much hot glue, instead of using a whole bunch of hot glue, you could just use the hot glue to tack it in place while the regular glue dries. And this is what I'm going to show you. So I could just put a little bit of regular glue. So I'm using a little wood glue. If you have white glue, Elmer's glue, that's fine too. So I'm just putting a little bit on that. And I'm going to kind of squish this together so that the lines are lined up. All right, so kind of just giving this a little rub here. Let me see if I can get that on the camera. There we go. So that you can see those lines are lined up pretty well. Kind of like that. Okay, so I've got those lined up. I gave it a little rub because that kind of creates a tiny bit of suction and friction, which will make it stick like this temporarily. So if you have nothing to clamp with, you could just put glue, give it a little rub like that so it sticks in place. If you have a glue gun, you could do this. So take that glue gun and put a little blob on this side and put a little blob on this side, and just that'll hold it in place while the other glue dries. And you don't even need that much of it. I just made kind of a mess. Okay, so I've got just a little blob of glue you can see to hold that in place while the glue dries. Now I'm going to put a little bit of glue on this side. Okay, and I'm going to give this a little rub and line it up with the line so that it's pretty well centered. Okay. So I've got that kind of well centered there. I'm going to take my little glue gun, put a little blob in that corner, and take my glue gun, put a little blob in that corner. Okay, so I've got a couple little blobs there. Whoops, not quite dry yet, so just kind of holding it in place. till that dries, and I've got my center lines lined up. Letting that dry, and that's it.